Good afternoon and welcome back to the ninth and final part of our London Canal Loop walk. We're back here at the Millennium Bridge just outside the Tate Modern where we left off last time. We're going to carry on this way along the river and get to Limehouse, which shouldn't take us all that much time now. Once we get there we have completed our 70-kilometre loop.
No, but probably one of them did a cover. The steps do a cover. Sorry. You've been in? Hey, modern. That's what I meant, Vogue Theatre. You've been in? Yes, you have.
Straight away we've got Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, or at least a reconstruction of.
Yeah. And the body burned down.
Oh, did it burn down?
Yeah.
They tried to.
Isn't that during the Brett Power?
So they tried to recreate it based on.
I think this is Cannon Street Railway Bridge going into Cannon Street Station over there.
They don't have like a barrier or anything. World of Wine tour. I like wine that much, it might be interesting. There's a mural hidden behind there. And suddenly everything gets a little bit warehousey. Old lift for lifting things up to different floors of the building. No, we haven't joined.
Nice bit of ruins. Could have been turned into a little garden.
All fruit, fructose.
Quite impressive. No idea what the costumes there are about, but
No.
maybe just for the sake of raising a bit more money. Is this a centurion or? Not sure which direction you meant to look at it from. That one's quite good. Down here is the London Bridge experience. So this is London Bridge, which we're going to go up and over the far side. It's playing London Bridge is falling down under London Bridge. That's disconcerting. Now I know there are stairs up this side of London Bridge, I've just got to find them. Fresh smelling, not. This is London Bridge Station with the Shard towering above it, which we'll see again. There you go, we just went under here. It was just down there. This time we actually are crossing the river. I can see over here that there is a walkway along this side of the river, but it starts getting all a bit bitty. So we're going to cross over to the far side and continue our journey down the far side of the river. Partly because the footpath sticks a bit close to the river, and partly because Limehouse is on that side, so we do need to cross over at some point. And I think I've depleted my power supplies for zipping across the river magically. So I'm going to go across London Bridge. London Bridge, of course, not to be confused with Tower Bridge, which is that one over there. London Bridge is just a normal, boring road bridge.
I've had enough.
This building in the middle here, this one, affectionately called the Walkie Talkie, I believe has been known to set light to cars because of the concave shape of that glass frontage. It focused some sunlight onto the street below, singed some cars and some shop fronts. I'll link to the Wikipedia article on it in the description.
I don't know what it is about the golf course near me, but it's just so sweet. Like,
Moody view of the Shard. And then we're going to go down these steps here back onto the riverside.
ooh, it hurts.
Oh, this is not walking.
Back onto the Thames path.
내가
가? 사업을 이제 찍으려면 여기서 찍어야 될걸? 테스트 맛있죠?
Ooh. Down here, there's a little access way, a footpath that goes, I do not know where, just down into the water. Straight down into the river. How strange. I don't think that's official art. I think that's essentially graffiti, but that's nice graffiti. Anyone want a giant Kindrag? Get a boat inside one of those, inside a massive Kindrag.
You get some callbacks to London being a major trading hub here. We've got Custom House here where customs would be charged with, customs for goods coming in would be. And then we've got this walkway that goes to Sugar Quay, and these things that would be brought in by the river in the past. I think HMRC, HM Revenue, Revenue Customs is still in this building to this day. Ooh, this used to be closed last time I was here. This is nice. Then opposite, you've got HMS Belfast, a decommissioned warship that's now parked up here, now moored up here permanently as a museum, and you can go and have a wander around, look at exhibits, and so on and so forth. Over there you've got the little sort of egg-shaped building. I think that's the mayor's office. Lovely view of Tower Bridge. It does open, but not very often because most boats can fit under it. I think there are a few yacht clubs around here somewhere that may require it to open occasionally, and if they were to move HMS Belfast, that would definitely need it to open, but most of the time it doesn't, and I think most of the motorists are pretty glad of that because it would cause some quite large tailbacks if it had to be opened and closed. I don't imagine it's the fastest bridge in the world. And we found Tower of London. That's not the Tower of London, that's the Tower of London gift shop. It'd be a bit modern to be the Tower of London. There's the Tower of London. And that's just the entrance.
More stairs straight down to the river. We like these in London.
So, are we?
I believe this was also a direct river entrance as well. Traitors could be brought in on the river right into the tower. It's all a bit fancy around here. Unlike Limehouse, I think this one only joins back onto the river. I don't think there's a canal that goes off from any other point of this marina, this dock. Lots of dock buildings here. Old working buildings, now probably offices or apartments. You can see the blue one over there has got winches to lift goods up to the different floors. Presumably from vehicles on this side and then similar for boats on the other side.
Aha. Thames Path. This way. Ooh, it smells like the sea. Raised drain there, it nearly fell over. I love central London's definition of a park. Tower Bridge Wharf. This park is managed by Tower Hamlets Council. What a lovely green and verdant park. Sorry, I'm showing my Surrey biases. It would be interesting to look up what Butler's Wharf did, because they have an awful lot of building along that side of the river. So it must have been a huge company. And then this one over here is Butler's Wharf Limited as well. Some more art. These are some yachts that would probably have to ask Tower Bridge to raise if they wanted to go under, but we're on the correct side that they could get out to sea without having to. It's only if they wanted to go inland they'd have to go under Tower Bridge. There's a yacht underway over there. And that's where we were a minute ago. We went back out to the river. That was worthwhile. It was to walk along the edge of the river a bit further.
Well, I think that's it. Yeah, I think
It's like an old pumping station sort of building. The smell around here is decidedly fishy. See what we're going over. It looks like more water. It looks like there would have been away from that water out under here, but now it just it's some pipes and not much else.
Memorial to the civilians of East London. Is it carrying around the corner? Second World War, 1939 to 45. Memorial to the civilians of East London, it repeats. Nice little gold detail in there. It always amuses me these where they've put this footpath in, but originally they just built walls between each different building's bit of wharf or dock space, and then decided maybe we should make it a footpath all along there to put ramps and stairs in. Strange little park. A little sort of sunken park. Presumably used to be something else. Again, I think a lot of places in London did. And then in the City of London, a pub called Town of Ramsgate. Fair enough. I do like these bridges though. Well, these would have been wharf buildings at one point to move stuff from the Riverside Wharf across the other one. Sort of a little bit of outside space for one of these apartments. Although there are some places, I don't know where it is, but I've seen one somewhere, where there's a bridge like that that's been turned into a swimming pool, which is kind of weird. We're going to sneak down the side of the pub here and see where this goes. I suspect this is another staircase straight down into the river. Yep. Another staircase straight into the river. To highlight all these stairs that go down to the river, you get little alleys with names like that, King Henry Stairs, which will just be steps down to the river, or in this case access to a Wapping Pier by the looks of it. Pelican Stairs, nope. Ooh, that's a chunky bridge. Ha 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 ha. River. I was thinking earlier that bits of this river, like here, if you ignore the couple of tower blocks, look positively Victorian. But if you pan too far over, suddenly hit the City of London and it's not very Victorian at all again. Prospect Wharf, 1988 now. Yeah, exactly. I'm guessing. We've done a good job of making all the balconies look like old wharf loading areas, I think. I get a little bit wet over going around this corner. It's a dangerous splash risk in this corner. Should we go the short route or the long route? I think we'll go the long route. Just out over here for no particular reason. Apart from it smells of the seaside and sounds like a pier. Shadwell Basin. This is that massive bridge we saw. It looks like it's a up there is a great big counterweight for lifting, for the bridge to be a lifting bridge. So it would lift along this line here. can have a look over here. We have Shadwell Basin. There's no curb there, which looks to be part of the water sports area. Some slalom gates and such. Looks surprisingly empty, but if it's all used for the water sports, then I suppose that sort of makes sense. Well, water sports and the Swan's Nest over there. Oh, more tideway. We found King Edward Memorial Park. Which is full of flies. And we've got a rotunda thing here that I have no idea what it is. And more Thames Tideway. It'll focus through the window, which it won't. Ah, okay, that explains what this is. Rotherhithe Tunnel Shaft 3, so it's a ventilation shaft for a road tunnel below. Ooh. I'm guessing they've decided that this isn't safe anymore. Who's been at the pub since 4? Into Keithy's flat when he's sober. Oh, there's a little maintained dock here. Maintained at a set level somehow. Not sure how you'd get any into or out of it though. That's strange. I knew from here we do get a lovely view of pretty much where all the money in London is. It's just bank after bank after bank, head office over there. We're now surprisingly close to being back at Limehouse. I think between those two buildings up there with white ground floors, I think that's the entrance back into Limehouse again. So we're definitely not going around that corner over towards the city. We're not going that far, so just up here. We're coming back around to completing this loop. It's got a slightly bigger motor than the Rib, but it's also a slightly bigger boat. Looks like we're in someone's back garden up here. Apparently dogs must be kept on a lead, which looks stupid when the path goes nowhere, but I think when the tide is out this does actually go down to a foreshore, so that makes a bit more sense.
I don't think they're meant to be.
Hey?
Are they meant to be?
I think to a degree, yeah. More so.
Aww. Path goes down there. It looks like we don't. And with this rotating bridge by the looks of it, oh yes,
this rotating bridge, we're back to the entrance to Limehouse again. So the bridge rotates round into that spare patch of land over there, I think. You've even got funky curved log gates as well, rather than standard flat ones. Up this way, as we said back in the very first episode, you have the Limehouse Cut, which is another little bit of canal. It goes up here, turns into a differently named canal, but I can't remember the name of it right now, but goes up past the Olympic Park that was constructed for London 2012, and then comes back down the Hertford Union Canal and joins into the Regent's Canal that we first started walking up. So what we may do is we may do that as a little bonus video, as a little extra on the end. We're going to have a walk past the London Olympic Park. And here we are, complete circle, right back to the beginning. Thank you very much for joining us on this walk. If you haven't seen the whole lot, there'll be a playlist linked right here, so you can go back and watch the whole lot. And no doubt we will continue doing some other walks in the future and keep putting them here. So if you'd like to see any more, do subscribe. And we'll see where we go from here. Oh, it looks like a boat's about to come in the lock.